Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Here on the show with me today is Mr. Chisom Nwachukwu. You're welcome, Mr. Chisom.
Thank you, Ms. Sofina.
All right, so Mr. Chisom is a social activist. He is a social analyst, a public affairs analyst. He is an educator and an academic consultant. Yes, you're welcome once again, sir.
Thank you.
And now on to the story. Edo State Police Command has arrested 14 suspected cultists in Uromi after they allegedly hijacked a corpse during a burial ceremony and attempted to stop the burial. The suspects were also accused of attacking 2 commercial motorcyclists, leaving them with serious injuries. Police spokesperson Eno Ikeodem said officers swiftly intervened to restore order and recovered dangerous weapons, including 11 cutlasses, a dagger, and a shovel. The injured victims were taken to Irua Specialist Hospital while investigations are going on. Commending the operation, Commissioner of Police on Monday, Abonika, assured residents of sustained security measures across the state. He urged the public to remain vigilant and cooperate with security agencies by providing timely information to help curb cult-related violence. I mean, Mr. Chisom, in a situation like this where cultists now disrupt even the dead, I mean, do we still have any place that is sacred? Like, it's the audacity for me that these cultists do not even respect the dead anymore. Or are they trying to tell us that we now need security presence in burial locations? What is your take on this story?
Well, if we go into the detail of the story, I believe that perhaps the deceased, that's the dead person, was a member of that cultist.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So I think so. But whatever it is, or whatever case, there should be respect for the dead. They are not supposed to go that far, interrupting the burial, the funeral, you know. So in that case, I think we need to do more. But thank God that the security operatives were able to intercept, they intervened, and we were able to, you know, put the place in order. So that's the most important aspect of it. The security operatives being able to intervene in time, and we're able to stop the cultist. So that action of the police is highly commendable, in as much as we're encouraging people to stay away from cultism. Because in one way or the other, it's possible that there is a link either between the dead, the deceased, and the people that acted up. So I don't think that the cultists can just, you know, start attacking people or acting up like that. If we are to investigate thoroughly, there could be a link. There could be a link. That's what I believe.
All right, thank you so much for that perspective. I didn't think of it like that. You know, in a way, I was kind of thinking, probably, was it when someone did, where the court is sent by other persons to do that job? Well, but your perspective kind of makes sense too, you know. But even as that, was it necessary hijacking the dead body? I mean, if let's assume he was a cultist when he was alive, do you not think that the dead body should have been respected at the point when he was dead? They shouldn't have gone as far as hijacking his dead body.
The point there is this: if actually he was a cultist when he was alive, perhaps there was an agreement that the cultist should be in charge of the burial or in charge of the funeral. So if there was such an agreement, maybe that was the reason they came to act. They came to take their person. Maybe they wanted to bury their person, because if someone dies as an active member of a church, it is the church that buries the person. So if the deceased was maybe an active member of that cultic group, then maybe the members came to bury their person.
Sorry to cut you in, but when you say the members came to bury their person, I know this very notion is quite common with occult groups.
Okay.
You know, the occult group is different from the cult group. For the occult group, we know that that's how it's done. They come to carry, but this is all this.
The cultists are known for
occult. I've really
radical.
never seen.
No, the cultists are violent in nature. They are violent. They cause disorder. There is always chaos when they enter. And from the story, I learned that the weapons were recovered, like dagger.
When you say the cultists, they are known for being violent, causing disorder, and all that. Do you not think that probably they just wanted to cause chaos, scatter the whole place, and not necessarily even getting the body to bury themselves? Don't you think so? What do you think?
It's possible that they came to cause chaos, but do they usually go to cause chaos where other people are buried? So I still feel that there is a link between the deceased and the cultist.
All right, you know, talking about cultism, I don't know. If you look back with me, there used to be a time when the whole thing was so rampant.
Yes.
Everywhere you go, cult clashes, cult cases, a lot of young males, you know, were often identifying with one or two cult groups and all that. But in recent time, and allegedly, a lot of persons has even come out to claim that the rate of cult practices and cultism has reduced, being that a lot of young people now has diverted their attention to another form of crime, which is the cyber theft.
Oh, okay.
A lot of persons, a lot of those cultists, you know, has now gone to the area of cyber theft, the Yahoo that everybody knows. A lot of them have moved to the Yahoo, and then so I was surprised to still see people in Edo State, young boys in Edo State, still involving in cult clashes and all that. What do you have to say?
Well, the truth remains that the cult activities have been curbed.
It has reduced.
Yes, it has reduced. It used to be very common, especially those in the tertiary institution. Universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, you see cult activities going on, people being forced to even join. But in recent time, it's no longer like that, maybe because the youths are beginning to see the need to become financially self-reliant. So even though they have diverted, some of them have diverted their energy into another crime, like you rightly said, the internet fraud, some are going into that. But these ones, that doesn't mean that it has been totally eradicated. No, it has not been totally wiped off. Some of them are still into that. Maybe those who have not known that there are many other things that can be more useful to their lives. So
probably the ones that are not educated enough to go into
cause that.
All right, thank you so much for that great analysis. We go on to the next story.
Okay.
Body of a young man was recovered from the Obalende Underbridge Canal, Lagos Island, 3 days after he was reported missing. The deceased, believed to be a drug user, was living under the bridge and was found dead and body decomposing. After a search team located the body in the canal, officials of the Lagos Environmental Sanitation Corps said the man likely slipped into the canal while under the influence of illicit drugs, with no one immediately noticing his absence. His remains were later conveyed to the mortuary at Lagos Central Hospital for further action. The incident comes amid the Lagos State government's ongoing clearance of squatters under the Obalende Bridge following a quit notice issued to resign the area into a sustainable public space. Authorities say the development aims to improve environmental standards and eliminate criminal activities in the area. what do you make of this report, Mr. Chisom? A young man's body is found in a canal beneath the bridge, which happens to be his place of residence, you know. Would you say this is just an accident or a symptom of a deeper societal issue? I mean, is this young man truly just a victim of drug or a victim of neglect? And those people who stay under our bridges, why do they stay there? And then we also say in the report that the Lagos State had evacuated squatters, asked everyone who squatted there to go. And then days later, we are finding this death. Do you attribute this to just drug, or do you think there is something, there could be other reasons? Is this truly an accident as reported, Mr. Chisom?
All right. For me, I can attribute it to the influence of drugs. Because drug has a lot of negative influence in the life of anybody that abuses it or takes it.
Okay.
So when somebody is into drugs, the person loses his or her main self, conscience.
Okay.
That will influence the person's actions. The way the person acts is just the drug that is influencing it. So this person that went into the canal and then lost his life is because he has been under the influence of drugs. Because there are many other people who are squatting in that same area. And the government of Lagos State, did not give that issue. The notice to quit was not done immediately. I learned that the notice had been given not even this year. Maybe 2025, 2024, they gave them the notice to quit, and they were waiting for approval so that the people can be forcefully evacuated from the place. So it's possible that the young man had taken the drugs as usual and could not control his movement. It was no longer coordinated and then went into the canal. On the other part, people living around, even though people are minding their business, but then if they were not negligent enough, the body wouldn't have stayed for 3 days before they could recover. If there were people who were vigilant, who were watching in that area, they would have known that somebody had jumped into the canal and they would have discovered the body.
All right. When you say that this must have been the influence, or must have happened as a result of the influence of alcohol.
Yes.
I want us to look at a whole lot of possible factors too that probably might have led to this. Now, a normal human, I tell you, I do not think will stoop to rather stay under the bridge.
Okay.
When you see people staying under the bridge, what does it tell? They do not have a lot of options.
Yeah.
For them, that is their only option.
Yeah.
Okay,
for many, but not
for
all.
many of them.
Yes.
Let's assume that for that very young man, that bridge was his final bus stop. No family, no parents. That's the only possible place he could lay his head at night. And now he is asked to leave without provision of where to go to. Now, there is one thing about people who drink, drunkards. Once a man is known to be a drunkard, even when he's not drunk, he's drunk. That's one thing. That's a phenomenon.
I agree.
Even when you are not drunk and you talk, people will say, no, he's drunk again. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, and mind you, the report didn't say people saw him enter this canal. They are alleging that he probably was drunk and then he slipped into the canal.
Okay.
And that is the reason why his body was only found decomposing, because if people saw him fall inside, of course they would have tried rescuing him before his body started decomposing. So in a way, do you not think that before this man is being failed by the drugs he is taking, that the society probably had failed him even before the drugs?
Well, I also tell people that you are the architect of your destiny.
Okay.
In as much as we're expecting a lot from the government, we have our own roles and responsibilities to play individually. So, and if someone is taking anything that will affect the person's thinking faculty, the person's brain, the person's coordination, forget it. Because if the person's brain is intact, he's normal, he's responsible, he's intentional about his life, then he would have, believe me, he had stayed there for more than 2 years. It's possible that he had lived in that area under the bridge for more than 2 years. And if somebody had lived there more than 2 years, a young man, healthy, he would have been doing 1 or 2 things to provide for himself or to fend for himself. And he would have managed to save little, even if to stay in a bacha or to squat with another person. But this is the power of drug. It's not just about drinking here. This is drug. So, and drug addiction is terrible. So what the area would have, suggested is there should have been a kind of help for him, taking him to a rehabilitation center, and then bringing maybe a clinical psychologist or someone that is into that to be talking to him, and his life will be better. Because if they get him right, then that action wouldn't have happened. The negative story we just heard or we just read. So that's the area I'm looking at it. But attributing it to the problem is because he needed help and nobody helped him. There are many people who need help, but they are helping themselves in one way or the other. They are engaging in an activity.
It's not really like we are trying to say he needed help and no one helped him. I'm only trying for us to look at the story from both sides.
Okay.
Now, we all know drug is bad.
Yeah.
Nobody is encouraged to. It is bad. But then beyond, I'm trying to see beyond the drug. After blaming the young man,
yes,
can we also look at it from this side? That's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
All right. You want to say something?
Yeah. If you want to look at it from that perspective, then we need to carry out investigations like, does he have parents?
Okay.
Is he an orphan? Does he have relatives or siblings? Is there no way the siblings would have maybe given him little support or would have talked to him? And it's still possible that somebody had talked to him before the incident.
Okay.
Or he didn't listen. So we need to investigate or ask many questions regarding his life. But you were not there, I wasn't there, I don't know him. But we're just trying to analyze the situation. That if he had some relative who really cared about his life, maybe they would have called him, giving him little support. Some would have taken him to the rehabilitation center, some would have been talking to him, looking for a way for him to break that addiction. Because that's the number one thing. That addiction would have been broken. Unless the addiction is broken, there's nothing. Because even if you give him work, any money he makes from the work will still go into drug.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. In a way, I want us to try to shift our attention a bit from the man who is now the victim, the deceased in this story. And let's look at drug abuse generally, considering the rate at which young people abuse drugs these days, both males, females. You see a child of 13 years abusing drugs. You see them heavily on drugs. What do you think is the cause of this rise in the abuse of drugs among our Gen Z generation, among our youths of these days, and some of the consequences? What message do you have to give generally as touching drug abuse? Okay,
there are a lot of causes. Number one is environment and association.
Okay.
And another one is exposure. The young people are exposed to so many things they are not exposed to. And what's the cause? Internet. Internet is accessible to them. The phone with internet is accessible. So they see so many things, watch things they're not supposed to watch at that age. So that exposure that they're not supposed to have is leading them to that drug abuse. The environment, the people they meet is also leading them to that situation. So the message to them and to their parents is the parents need to be involved. They need to be very serious about parenting. The schools they attend, the secondary school, the school authority, the school management need to engage counselors. Trained counselors, professional counselors, not necessarily religious counselors. People that can always educate them, enlighten them, because some of them are just testing it or engaging into that because of peer pressure, because of influence from their friends. So if there are people counseling them, telling them the dangers of abusing drugs, it will curb it. And if some of the exposure they're having, you remove them, I know that the students, the teenagers, they need the internet to do some of the assignment. But at the same time, parents need to monitor. Parents need to be aware of what they are doing. When they tell you, Mommy, I gave me assignment, I'm browsing, I'm doing this, you start to check. There is history of whatever thing you've browsed. You can check it. Although the Gen Z, very smart. Even Gen Alpha and Gen Z, they are very smart. They can delete the history. But if you are an observant parent, very observant, very vigilant, you can still find out when your child is sleeping from your conversation, regular conversation with your child. You can find that. So to anyone who is into drug abuse, please, you need to seek help. Get somebody you can confide in. If you are a student in a secondary school, there must be that teacher you can confide in who will help you out of it. That's the message.
All right, as we round up, I'm sorry, I just need to chip this in before we move to the next topic. A lot of times when you talk to some of these youths, some of these children who abuse drugs, I have noticed that there's one general excuse they will always give you. They will tell you they are depressed, they are sad. That's the only thing that makes them happy. And the question is, what is making these children
at that young age?
What is making them sad? You're not even the one footing the bills. You're still under your parents. You probably do not even have any responsibility. And they will tell you they are sad, they are depressed. And my question is, what is making them depressed? Why are they sad? And why are they resolving to drug abuse? Rather than, it's not like that's the only option. You need to see the rate at which this is happening in secondary schools. You go to secondary school, you see children that have started taking drugs from primary, from upper primary, from secondary. What do you have to say about, as an educator, what do you, I know you already mentioned that the school should come up with sensitization, programs.
Yes.
But then as a school owner, would you want to add anything? Would you want to add up to how the society, how schools, how parents can help reduce this whole saga of drug abuse among children? I call them children.
Yeah, of course. Teenagers are still children. Until you get above 18, you are still a child. So even someone who is above 18, 19 is still a teenager. Teen is there. So the ways to curb this, I've mentioned some of them, is that the parents should be very serious with their parenting. I know that parents are busy. The economy is not smiling. They are doing many jobs to meet up with their financial responsibilities or obligations in the family and for their children. And that's why many of them do not have time for their children. Therefore, the schools should be involved. The sensitization of this should increase. The children should always be enlightened about the dangers of engaging in drug abuse. And coming to a child telling you he or she is depressed, whether it is possible. Yeah, it is possible for a child to be depressed. But then, like you wondered, what is making a child who is not fending for himself or for herself, who doesn't have much financial responsibility, to be depressed? Some of them, I know a child who told the parents that if you take me back to that school, anything you see, you take. Yes, that's a particular school. It could come from the friends in the school, from the schoolmates or the classmates, or even from some things that are happening in the school. So these children, the curriculum, there should be extracurricular activities that may also help to wipe off the depression aspect. And then children need to be told that when you are not happy, you don't resort to drug, because drug will worsen the situation. Rather, do this, do the other one. They can engage in games. There are healthy competitive games, like schools that do inter-house sports. It's good. The activities involved or the program they do during the inter-house sports help the children. Let them run, let them play football or do other things. Engage in other external quiz or competitions. That will help to them to know that there are other good children that are doing very well and they are not engaged in drug. So that's my take.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Chisom, for that great analysis. On to the next story. The Anambra State Police Command has arrested 2 female suspects, Uzoma Nwambweze and Precious Monday, in connection with the disappearance of a 16-year-old girl, Miss Oluebube Chukuma, in Ozubulu, Ekusigo local government area. Police said the suspects were apprehended following technologically driven intelligence and later confessed to their involvement, revealing that the missing girl is currently in Ghana. According to police spokesperson SP Tochukwu Ikenga, the Commissioner of Police Ikioye Urutugu has ordered the immediate transfer of the suspects to the State Criminal Investigation Department in Akwa for a thorough and discreet investigation. Authorities are working to determine the circumstances surrounding the girl's relocation and to identify other individuals who may be involved. The case adds to the growing concerns over child abduction and trafficking in the region, following recent arrests linked to the abduction and alleged ritual killing of minors. Police say investigations are ongoing and have assured the public that updates will be provided as efforts continue to protect vulnerable children. This story. I don't know why it seemed to sound sarcastic. I mean, the question is, how does a 16-year-old girl disappear from her community and then resurfaces in another country without raising alarms? Another country altogether. A 16-year-old disappearing from her community, not even an alarm, and then she resurfaces in another country. How does this happen? And when things like this happen, who do we even hold responsible? Is it the family of the girl? Is it the community? Is it the society? Is it the system? Who do we hold responsible?
Well, in situations like this, I can also attribute it to insecurity. Because if there is real security, there could be questioning. Who is this person? How are you traveling? You crossed the border of Nigeria. You are moving to another country. It's not as if you are traveling from Anambra State to Enugu State or from Anambra State to Lagos State. But this movement is to another country. So how did it happen? There should be a lot of interrogation here. You know, the suspect needs to be questioned. Then if they can get the 16-year-old, questioning has to happen. And, you know, it is not one person's effort. I believe that the very suspect connived with others. He connived with someone. It's not something that one person can do to move a 16-year-old child from Anambra State to outside the country, to Ghana. It's not possible for one person to carry out that kind of criminal act successfully. So I believe that there was a negative collaboration for it to happen successfully. You understand? So it's not just one person that should be blamed. It's only when we continue carry out these investigations that we can know whether we should blame this person or not. But believe me, it's not one person's act. He must have or she must have collaborated with many others. Maybe people that are close to the girl. And it wasn't a day something. It must be something that was thoroughly planned before it was carried out. That's my take.
In a way, do you also sense a foul play in this whole story? I mean, this girl isn't a child. A 16-year-old isn't a child.
Yeah, sure.
For the fact that, like the first question I asked, she didn't raise any alarm till she was successfully taken out from the community, from her state, from her country to another country. Do you not, in a way, see it that probably they are not telling us, but there might have been an issue of consent from the girl?
Oh, okay. The possibility is there. It's highly, highly possible that the girl's consent was given, because someone who is 16 years old in this our time, some of them engaged in relationship. So it's possible that the girl was deceived. It's possible that the girl's boyfriend was involved. That's why I said it's not one person's something. It's possible that one close to the girl or close to that young girl was involved. It's possible that she was promised something. It is also possible that the girl's parents are not even aware of the movement. You know, someone that is 16 is a bit big, mature. That's the age of completing secondary school. For some, they have completed secondary school at 16. Some are in SS3 at 16. So it means that the child is somehow big, even though a teenager, but big. So it's possible that the girl's consent, somehow the girl was deceived, not really hypnotized. It was told, if you move to Ghana or move to this place and all that, who knows, maybe she's into relationship. We don't know. But then investigation has to be carried out. The victim, the girl in question, we need to hear from her. And from there we can know.
All right, so I'd like to bring back this question again. When reports like this come up, when things get to this extent, who really should we hold responsible? Is it the family of the girl that did not in any way detect the foul play, like something was happening, our child was living? As a parent, you were there and all of a sudden you're hearing your child is in another country. Don't you see negligence on the part of the... Who should be held responsible? Is it the parent, the family? Is it the community? Is it the system? Is it the security agencies that this girl must have been carried from one police checkpoint to the other, one spot to the other, and no security personnel cared? Let's assume that she was actually trafficked. Her consent wasn't involved. Doesn't mean that they didn't pass through any police checkpoints, no security agencies came across them and they didn't ask any question. Who do we hold responsible?
In that case, we need to find out, is the girl living with her real parents?
Okay.
Or she was living with guardians? If a child is living with her parents or with his parents, it's a different thing. You know, if the person is living with her guardian, maybe the person is just a servant, a house help. Yes, people get such people in their houses. And perhaps the child is being maltreated, the child had been planning to leave the guardian. It's possible.
There's another aspect of it.
The person on errand, and from there she moved. Or if the child has been living with the parents and then there is proper parenting, a girl child of 16 should be somehow closer to the mother, especially because the mother needs to teach her some things about the womanhood. You know, there's a way a child will be close to the mother, and it will be difficult for the child to take such to carry out such responsibility, to take such action without the mother not being aware. Somehow the mother will get a hint if the parents are close to the child. So the parents, if they are living with the children, so it could be attributed to negligence, the way, depending on how the child is raised. Then if it is the guardian, maybe we also need to look at that kind of situation. So for now, until we find out if the child was living with the parents or living with a mere guidance, we cannot blame any particular person. Because if a child of 16 is working with an adult like you or like me, and then she's happily working, the police may not even suspect anything. But the aspects I am trying to question is how someone crosses border. Is there no passport? Is there nothing to show to cross the country, enter into another country, and you were not intercepted? I think we should also look at that aspect carefully. Is it that the border is that porous?
It's worth asking.
Yes, we need to ask.
All right, thank you so much for that great perspective. Now on to the next story. Tension has gripped Iluabo community in Akure North local government area of the Ondo state after gunmen abducted a primary school proprietress, Mrs. Oladende Tamilola, and shot 3 people during an attack on Tuesday night. The assailants ambushed their main target, a businessman, John Ofudua, shooting him in the head, and later abducted Mrs. Tomilola, his neighbor. 2 other victims, Victoria and her 11-year-old daughter, were injured by gunshots. Angered by the incident, residents staged a protest by blocking the Akure-Owo highway, causing hours of traffic disruption. They described the rising cases of kidnapping and insecurity in the community and called on the government to establish a permanent military checkpoint to deter criminals. Security chiefs, including the Commissioner of Police, Adebowale Lawal, and the Commander of 32 Brigade Artillery, Brigadier General Justin Ifeanyi, visited the community and assured residents of reinforced security measures. Traditional ruler Oba Samuel Fale pledged the support of community vigilantes, while security agencies vowed to rescue the abducted woman and arrest those responsible. I mean, Mr. Chisholm, yes, as an educator and as a school head, when gunmen attack the proprietress of a school, I want us to start by looking at these stories from this angle. When gunmen attack the proprietress of a school, do you see this as an attack of an individual or the attack of education in the country? Mind you, when we look at the cases of insecurity, you know, and you do a proper analysis of how these cases have been, you realize that the major targets for both the gunmen, the bandits, and all that, 2 major targets have always been the churches and schools. Why do they keep attacking schools? Let's leave the church apart. We are not talking about that. Why do they keep attacking school? Is this an attack on individuals or an attack on education, the educational system of the country?
Okay. Like you rightly said, the attack has majorly been on schools and worship center.
Okay.
Now, we're leaving the worship center and focusing on school.
Yes.
And if it is about Boko Haram attack, we know that Boko Haram is against the Western education. So somehow, they are standing on what they believe. That is, they are not in support of Western education. And Western education is acquired in the school. The school is a place where we receive formal education. So the attack is not on an individual, but it's against the society, against the education. Maybe they do not want our people to acquire the Western education, to be educated. So this attack on the proprietress, it's something that everyone should be worried about, because this is a school owner who is supposed to even provide security for her school. And if she's been attacked and kidnapped, her child, I think 11-year-old, also killed in the attack, then the children in that school are not safe. Although from the story, they had a main target.
Yes.
You find that person escaped. We were not able to capture him.
He was shot on the head, yes, and that was the reason.
Escaped with the,
yes,
with the gunshot. But then they now got another victim. So it means that when an individual is being attacked, everybody should raise an alarm. That's where I'm looking at it, because the attack will spread. One day, if the person they are looking for, they don't get him or they don't get her, they will look for the available person. And from the story, the community people protested against prolonged attack on the community. You understand? Security issues. So it means that this had been happening. Maybe people felt, it's not me, or I don't have money, they're not going to attack me. So when we hear of such, everybody should do something. If it means providing an information to the security operative to help arrest the culprits, let's do whatever thing we can do that's in our power and within the law. We should try and do it in order to curb such or even end it.
All right, like you said, the community members protested, and you know they got the attention. My question based on this is, why does it look like these communities only get the attention and intervention of the government only after protest and bloodsheds, only after an uproar? So does it mean that if no one protested, this would happen and it would go like just like that? It is always after a protest. It is always after an uproar that the attention of the security agencies and the government is gotten. Why is it like this?
Well, in Nigeria, until the government noticed that these people are no longer smiling to avoid disruption, that's the only time we can see them act. So that's why everything called peaceful protest is good, because it will help to draw the attention of the people in authority. It will help to draw the attention of the government, of the police operatives to do something. If you keep quiet, they want everything to be sealed. But because an alarm has been raised, the society is aware, they don't want the society to question what is the work of our government. They don't want the society to question what is the work of our security operatives. So that's why they act like that. You understand? So until that protest is made, most times in Nigeria, it is difficult to get the attention of the government and the police.
All right, so when we, thank you for the beautiful analysis. And now as we round up, you know, the big question today is, starting from the last story, you know, how many more persons will have to die, will have to be abducted before we can get prevention? How many other children will have to go missing before a solution can be gotten? Do we always have to cry after the deal has been done? Can't we avoid these things? Can't we stop these things from happening? All right, because time is not on our side, we thank you, our viewers, for staying with us on the show. Thank you, Mr. Chisom Ikesinachi Nwachukwu. Yes, I had to get all those names. Thank you. It's been nice having this show with you.
Pleasure.
And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you, everyone who stayed with us. We're open for sponsorship of this program, jingles and advert placement, news and event coverage, personality, society, and political interviews, product service promotion, and commercials. Watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Avo TV channel 205, Limtex TV platform, Ifastech platform, Apple TV, Niger TV, Iroko TV. Connect with us on ATN socials. Subscribe, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And on X, at Atlantic TV Net. Remember and never forget that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you. I am Ofina Anuja.